Hi everybody. I wanted to post another video, and I hope that you have found these helpful so far because of where we are in the course. Today, as I record this, it is July 7th, and that means that there are 4 discussion forums still remaining. There's also the essay project still to be completed. That's due on July 16th by the end of the day. And what that means, since only your best 8 discussion forum scores will count toward your final grade, is that a huge percentage of your grade still has yet to be determined. There may be some of you, in fact I think there are, who have done an excellent job on the discussion forums to date and may have already completed that part of the course. But for folks who would like a chance to pull up their grade before the course is over, we're not at a place where you need to worry yet. But there are some things. I keep seeing some mistakes made in the discussion forums, and I noticed some similar kind of problems in stage 3 of the essay project that I just graded today that I thought maybe I ought to call your attention to, and I thought that maybe a video would be a helpful format for doing that rather than sending out another email to the class. So, if you want to do well on the remaining assignments in the course, let me encourage you to pay close attention to what follows for the next roughly 8.5 minutes. So a couple of thoughts, and really these are again just some general thoughts or my general reactions to some comments or some kinds of comments that I've seen repeatedly now throughout the semester, including in recent discussion forum posts and including in stage 3 of the essay project. One issue is this. A lot of people seem to still be assuming well, not a lot of people, but a handful of people are assuming a kind of moral relativism that we talked about in the early part of the course, and that has some really, really deep problems. Remember, moral relativism is the idea that something is morally right if it's what our culture says is right. Now, that's the really rough idea. You can reread chapter 1 of Timon's book if you want a more detailed analysis. But that's the basic idea. You know, we've got things that are right for us here in the United States, and other cultures have what's right for them. Or, you know, you've got what's right for you, I've got what's right for me, and that's all there is to say about it. Well, look, that's a difficult view to really, frankly, to take seriously when you really think about it. So let me give you one example, because that might sound surprising, right? Lots of people are moral relativists. Lots of smart people are moral relativists. But here's one case, would be Martin Luther King Jr. Nearly everybody will look at Dr. King and say, this man was a moral hero. What he did was morally right, even though he stood up against the standards that were dominant in his culture at the time. Right? And if you think that, yes, what Dr. King did was the right thing to do, then you're going to find it's not so easy to be a relativist, right? Because now you're saying, no, what he did was right in light of some higher standard, in light of some bigger set of criteria that go beyond what merely happened to be popular at his time and place in history. That's the trick, right? Nearly all of us recognize that a person could make, I'm going to put this in kind of technical language, but stick with me. Nearly all of us recognize that a person could make a sound decision to go against the norms of society, right? It's easy to imagine saying, so-and-so is doing something countercultural, so-and-so is doing something that looks weird in that society, but it was the right thing to do. It was the morally proper thing to do, or something like that. You know, a lot of us living in our society have to make decisions about whether we embrace our culture's view of sexuality, our culture's view of the importance of material goods, right? It's really widely assumed in our society today, I think this is safe to say, that you need to be, if not rich, you need to be fairly well off to be truly happy, right? That a good human life is one that includes lots of possessions and new stuff and so on. And a lot of us are in a position where we have to decide, you know, do I believe that or not? How am I going to live my life? How am I going to organize my career? Is the best kind of life for a human being one that includes lots and lots of stuff, or isn't it? And that's a real question. It's something that we have to wrestle with. But the way you answer it, hopefully, isn't just to look around and say, well, you know, what does our society say the answer is? No, because it could be that our society's wrong. It could be that our attitudes toward material possessions aren't very good. and we ought to be open to that possibility. So be wary of that. Try to avoid writing as though morality is merely about what people happen to believe at any given time. Another way to put this is actually the second bullet point in my list that I'm looking at here. But there's a difference between talking about morality itself and talking about our beliefs about morality. It's at least possible that these two things come apart. Right? We want to be careful here because most of us have beliefs about the content of morality, but we can't, again, I'm going to be belaboring the point, so I'll skip ahead in just a second, but we can't settle a moral question simply by observing what we in fact already believe. We need something deeper than that. We need some kind of reason, some kind of rationale that goes beyond our mere opinion or the attitudes that we happen to have at this time. A related issue, here's one that's come up kind of a lot in the discussion forums, is people will say this, and again, try to listen to me carefully here because you'll need to think this through in order for it to make sense. People will say something like this. Some behavior is, or in fact, people say nothing is wrong for everybody. Okay, so let's say there's no behavior that we should just say is simply wrong. And everybody should be allowed to do whatever they want to do as long as nobody else's interests are infringed upon. That was a mouthful, but you get the idea. On the one hand, somebody says, look, there's nothing that's absolutely out of bounds. Everybody has to decide for themselves how to live. And at the same time, everybody has to respect other people's rights to live the way they want to live. Well, there's a tension there. Right? Because if you're going to say, well, we do all have to respect each other's privacy or respect each other's, bodies or respect each other's wishes or interests or whatever, then suddenly you're not saying that everybody can do whatever it is that they want to do. You see the difference? Or you see where the tension is? Try to avoid that kind of contradiction, of saying that everybody has the right to do whatever they want to do, but also everybody has to respect other people's rights. Well, you can't have both of those, right? We're going to have to nuance that claim a little bit. And that's another thing that's come up kind of a lot. So be sure to be thinking carefully about the claim that people have the right to do whatever they want to do, because almost nobody actually thinks that, right? I don't have the right to give you an F in the course after you've completed all of the assignments and done really, really excellent work, just because that's what I feel like doing. You don't have the right to go next door and shoot your neighbor's dog just because it's barking in the middle of the night. But what explains that? What justifies the claim that my rights toward you are limited? Again, I don't have the right to fail you in this course, certainly not the moral rights, if you've done all the work and done a good job on it. And I can't get off the hook by saying, well, that's what I'd like to do. I feel really good about that. I have a sense of peace. My conscience is at rest when I think about assigning all of my students failing grades. So again, beware of that kind of thing. This is starting to look like I might need to make a second video here to talk a little bit more about some of the underlying stuff in the course. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this one, and I will add a second one in just a moment.